Hey everyone! This week we're jumping right into Spring Framework and building this out. So we want to make sure that everyone has a good understanding of what's going on in this week's module. So when you take a look at this week's module, it's important that you understand what the foundational readings are. You want to make sure that before you begin, you have read through Chapter 4 in your textbook and have worked through the exercises that the author provides there. It's really important to have that foundation to move forward. Also, as you know, the quiz questions, exam questions, things like that come from that core content of our curriculum. Once you finish the Chapter 4 reading, I wanted to kind of point out that I'm providing supporting resources. These resources will help you get a little bit deeper or help clarify information that you might have seen within the reading that could be a little bit tricky, but certainly they'll enhance your understanding. But these supplementing resources and the content contained within are never, they're never part of a quiz or an exam. They're just to supplement your reading. Once you've gone through this information, I want to point out something that I've provided here this week, and to demonstrate it, I'm going to pop on out and just look at the structure view of your module. You'll notice some additional pages that I'm providing here after you go through your reading. I'm showing you how to manually set up a Spring Boot application, add a REST controller to that application, and then add a REST controller with HTML. Now, it's important that you understand how to manually set these things up for your web-based applications, no matter what tools you're using. I'm noticing some challenges, which are normal challenges in a web-based programming class. Different people using different IDEs. Maven is glitching out on some IDEs and working on others. And Tomcat and getting everything to work together with your local web server can be a challenge for anyone. Even professionals struggle with this, and there's this configuration phase that all of us go through where we are very, very frustrated. I have to go for a lot of walks during that time. So I wanted to make sure to kind of press pause on the class a little bit after you've covered your Chapter 4 reading, after you've gone through those exercises, and make sure everyone knows how to manually set these things up, how to bypass some of these tools to make sure you can still get your projects completed and your web-based applications running. So to start off and manually setting up a Spring Boot application, I provide you some step-by-step resources, examples here with the code and everything you need. I encourage you to walk through this even if you are just fine in the class and you haven't experienced any problems. If you are not familiar with going from your terminal, your command prompt, or your terminal in setting these things up and using just a basic text editor, it's good to go through this at least once and make sure you're familiar with the process so that if ever your IDE isn't working the way you need it to, you have a plan B. So go through these exercises when you get a free moment. And then at the very end, I recorded a video where I walk through each of these exercises that I'm going to just demonstrate in a second. If reading through the content is a challenge, like I said, there's a video that walks you through step by step everything that I'm asking you to do here. Now, once you have a good understanding of setting up this thing manually, you can go through and add a REST controller so that we can process these HTTP requests and display this using our our web server, our local web server. Again, I'm using, so the platform I'm using is just Mac OS. And the web server I'm using is Tomcat. If you're using something else, then of course you'll modify these steps to work toward your setup. At the end, again, there's another video that walks you through this process. And then finally, we want to make sure that we're able to push an HTML page through our web server and get things to display using a markup language so we can make it look nice and not just be straight text out to the screen. Once you get to this third page, you might run into an error, a Spring Boot error that basically says port 8080 is already in use. Now that comes from running an application through your web server, your local web server, by default port 8080. If that application is still being served to port 8080, you're going to end up with this error. You just need to kill the process. But I'm not sure if navigating your way through things like this was part of your prerequisite classes. Like I said earlier, I feel very confident that everyone is strong in the Java programming language from your prerequisite courses. I believe by this class you've had 2 classes in the Java programming language. But it could be that for some, the internet and web-based stuff is a little bit of challenge. So this video just goes through understanding how to kill processes from your terminal. Once you go through these exercises and have a firm understanding of your reading, you'll walk through your weekly peer interaction. Once you finish your peer interaction, you have your quick quiz. Just a little 5 questions. These quizzes are to prepare you for the midterm and final exam. When you get to the exams, you will have practice tests there to get you ready as well. And then finally, you have a lab where I'm just simply asking you for this week to demonstrate that you have a good understanding of setting up these processes, serving them to your your local server, and then outputting also as HTML. I'm asking you to get a little bit creative, do something fun with it. And I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with for this lab. Now, I do want to point something out that's really, really, really important, and that's under the deliverables area. Please make sure that you have your screenshots outside of the zipped project. So without going in too deeply about how I do the grading here, I need those screenshots to be outside of the zipped project. Now, different details like how you set up your directory structures and things like that, I can get around easily. But I want to explain to you what I use these screenshots for. If I am unable to get through and get your web application to run, what I do is I go over and I pull your screenshot so that I can see what environment you used. And then I try and emulate that environment to, again, be able to get your web app to run and test it. Or I can look at your screenshot and see that you also had problems getting it to run, and I can take a look at that paragraph that kind of details what you did to try and solve the problem. The point is, I really need those screenshots to be outside of the zip. If you zip the screenshots inside your zipped project, then it creates a situation on my end where it looks like nothing is working. And of course, I know that's not the case. I know you all are doing very well in the class. So just something to keep in mind. As we go through this week's module, please reach out if you have any questions or concerns. I am always happy to help. I am open to discussing things through and what I can do to make sure to facilitate this class in a positive way so you can learn all about web-based programming. Have a great week, everyone.